it's a day of Utsav for all of us. Is it not, Shalini?
Yeah, absolutely true. It's a real proud moment for all of us Indian consumers as well as alcobev industry.
And you know why this day, 24th August, is important? It is because on this very day, 17 years ago, a visionary leader, Mr. Neelkant Jagdale, and his son, Rakshit Jagdale, embarked on an uncharted territory and challenged the biggies of single malts makers of the world by introducing their made in India single malt. The initial years were very hard, but their belief in their product, Amrut Fusion, kept them going till the finally world realized that Indians too can make world class whiskies that can compete with the best. Since then, India has made rapid strides in single malt category, and all our single malt whiskies are getting high reviews and accolades globally.
So, Spiritz is going to celebrate this historic day with an interesting discussion with the makers of the Indian Single Malt. Let's welcome all of you on Spiritz TV. Welcome you all on Spiritz TV. On this special show, I welcome Mr. Rakshit Jagdale, Managing Director of Amrut Distilleries, Mr. Satpal Chaudhary, COO of Khode India Limited, Mr. Sanjeev Banga, President International Business, Radico Khaitan Limited, Mr. Himanshu Ashar, Global Brand Ambassador of Paul John Single Malts of John Distilleries Limited. I welcome you all on this show.
So let me start with Mr. Sanjeev Banga. So don't you think this is a proud moment for all of us that we have come a long way from the day the single malt started making their strides in the world, and it's a time to celebrate what we have achieved so far. Mr. Banga.
Indeed, it is a proud moment. As you mentioned, 17 years ago, the journey for Indian Single Malt started, and we've come a long way. But we still have, as they say, miles to go before we really put Indian Single Malt as a category on the world stage. There is already a great deal of interest, appreciation of the Indian Single Malt, and with more players joining in the field, it's immensely good for the category. So, as they say, the best is yet to come in terms of Indian Single Malt. But we've started a very interesting, fruitful, satisfying journey in which we can showcase what India has to offer to the world. And it is going to be a unique experience for the malt connoisseurs the world over. So, yes, indeed, the thought of celebrating August 24th as the day of Indian Single Malts is a very noble and a very interesting day. And I wish all our industry partners and all the Indian single malt producers all the luck that we need to build this as a global category.
I'd like to go to the senior most panelist, Mr. Satpal Chaudhary, who has more than 50 years experience in the liquor industry, and it is also credited for creating many new brands. Khode India Single Malt is also one of the major companies making single malts. Mr. Chaudhary, what is your opinion of Spiritz celebrating August 24 as Indian Single Malt Day? Is it the day that we all should feel proud of? What do you feel about it?
Proud of Amrut people. They did their first time they started the single malt, and they did a wonderful job to bring this whiskey and inform the world that India can do something better than what even the multinational company can do it, or foreigners, Scotland people can do it. They have done a wonderful job, and after that, Indian people like Monken or Radico Khaitan or Khode have just followed them well. I think our single malt is, as in today, what I feel is well accepted anywhere in the world. Rather, but I listen from many people in USA and Canada. There is a big lines many times to get Amrut brand over there on single malt. And I'm sure as the day passes on, Amrut and all those people, just Rediko Kitan or Johan or Kodes or Monmikan, they will come up in a big way to bring out more and more qualities of single malt whiskies. And it is a well honor, I should say it's an honor to produce an international brand as India brand in India. I think that's the best way to doing it.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary. Rakshit, do you feel jubilated about your being the pioneer of the single malts launching category in India and paving the way for other companies to follow?
Um, Good morning, everybody. Sri Bishanji and Shalini ma'am. In fact, the initiative that you all have taken in recognizing 24th of August as the Indian Single Malt Whisky Day, and from Amrut, primarily, we are very grateful and humbled. Yes, I mean, from the Amrut side, the credit goes to my respected father, Shri Nilkantrao Chigdale, who was the genesis of this concept of introducing single malt whiskey within the UK first. As I was doing my studies there, doing my MBA there, and as a part of my project, my father said, "Why don't you test market and see if there is a scope for an Indian single malt whiskey within the Indian restaurants within Great Britain?" So the journey started there, and as you all have rightly put it, it's been 17 years since we began, and very heartening to see that Paul Jean, Rampur, Kodes, and we have Kamet now, and I'm sure there are another host and Solon as well, and another host of another single malt whiskies that will certainly be launched globally, and and we are thankful to God for being the pioneers in establishing this segment in India and as well as abroad.
So Himanshu Usher, he is responsible for handling Paul John creating this category all around the world. So Himanshu, being a seasoned marketer, what would you like to tell the consumers is the best way to commemorate this day, the Indian Single Malt Day? We have so many choices now, and we are competing with the best of the world. So how a consumer can celebrate this day, in your opinion?
Way you think, share it with friends, have a dram for yourself. Regardless, whichever the brand is, we are here to celebrate the Indian single malt category. Let me assure you that though all of us are trying to plant flags in the world, it is a very, very difficult and arduous journey. So, as long as there is an Indian single malt flag flying, I think just go out and your favorite or what is available and share it with friends. I don't see any better way than with your near and dear ones.
So, Sanjeev, I would like to ask you, as you know that the consumers of Indian single malt is increasing day by day in India. They have started liking now Indian single malt. They are ordering for it. So, what do you think we can see future of Indian single malt in India in coming 5 years?
Shalini, the Indian consumer today is very knowledgeable. With the exposure, with the kind of travel that the Indians are doing, and the into social media, so they are very well aware what is happening all around the world. And I think it's very well for the luxury category, even in India, which is akin to your Indian single malts. They are appreciating that, and in fact, it goes in a way that the Make in India, or I don't want to sound political over here, but that Atmanirbhar and Make in India, uh, this is what we saw in the overseas market, the passion that the Indian diaspora had for anything which was good, luxury, premium coming from India, they would lap it up. The same thing is happening even in the Indian domestic market now. The Indian consumers in India feel pride, they feel honored, and they want to consume the best that India has to offer. So it's an amazing feeling that you are now appreciating what the world has been appreciating all this while, and people are consuming. So it's very good. The future for Indian single, or as I would say, the luxury spirit category in India is just the beginning, and it's be for producers as well as for the consumers.
So, Sanjeev, you must be interacting with lots of consumers all across the world. What generally they want to know about the Indian single malt? Are they mainly the Indian consumers or the global consumers?
See, the malt consumers or the malt connoisseurs are go beyond the nationalities over here. Our focus has primarily been the mainstream consumer. Having said that, the Indian diaspora is also equally important for the Indian single malt category over there. Uh, the Indian consumer is aware what India has to offer to the world, whereas the mainstream consumer, there's still a mystique about India, what India can offer. And they are very interested in experimenting, trying out new things. And thankfully, all the Indian single malts that are available in the market today are of world class. So choose any of them, they all try to give some sort of India to the world, which is something very new. It is something when the Japanese came on the scene, the Japanese malt were very different than the Scottish malt, and the consumers readily accepted that. And I see the same acceptance happening for the Indian single malt as well.
We have seen that all of you except Codes, because they are still being in the stage of launching it abroad, only I think in USA they are available. So I want to ask you that you people have participated in different exhibitions and shows. So what has been the response of the consumers over there, starting with Rakshit and then move on to other panelists? Rakshit, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The response has been very positive. Uh, Especially, I can recall certain incidences when we introduced Amrut and when we attended the first Whisky Live in Paris sometime in September, October in 2004. People were really taken aback, and people were really surprised to note that India could produce a single malt whiskey to begin with, and that too with exceptionally good quality. I think post that I think with Paul John following suit with Rampur and Codes and rest of the single malt whiskies that India is producing today, the consumer response is very good. I think Paul John, Rampur, Codes and ourselves have set very high benchmarks as far as the quality of our respective single malts are concerned. So people are aware and they look forward for anything new that is coming from India today, and look for any new brand extensions, any new variations that we can come up with. So the acceptance is very high today than what it was 17 years ago. Though challenges in certain markets do remain the same, but I think collectively, the Indian single malt whiskey segment is certainly poised for a very healthy growth. I see in the next coming years, because the acceptance from the consumers is now extremely high. Now, extremely high.
And what has been your experience, Sanjay?
The good thing is earlier it was only Amrut which would be participating in all these trade shows. But now it's so heartening to see Amrut, Pauljon, and Rampur, all three of us over there. So, as a category, and even from a consumer point of view, or the visitors to whether it is the Paris show or London show or the US shows and all that, So they are seeing more players, more brand owners of the Indian single malt exhibiting their products over there, and people get to taste between the three of us, and then Kode and Comment as well. We've got a lot of expression. So you can, when you come to any of these trade shows, you can see and taste a wide spectrum of Indian single malts. So it's not only confined to one or two expressions. So we've got a whole range, and each expression has something unique about it. So, and the consumers are absolutely stunned. Oh, we never knew India could produce such lovely single malts. So it's extremely heartening to see what's happening. And I think as co-owners of this category, we are all striving to make this even stronger and better in the years to come.
So Himanshu, see, all you gentlemen are making the Scottish proud single malt makers very angry that Indians are eating away their market share. So, which are the major countries you think Indian single malts, especially Paul John, has huge potential, which you think you are still to explore?
Still to explore, I would say India.
True.
Okay.
I mean,
Can you explain it, please?
yeah, the thing is that it is, see, the international markets are growing as well, but I have seen the shift in the CAGR that India is providing as an opportunity, and the vastness of the country. So, I think this is one place to leverage very strongly. Yes, across the world, you have USA, you have UK, you have France, you have Taiwan, you have Japan, which would tick all the boxes of, but the markets over there are already established with, legacy brands, which offer growth potential in terms of creating a new category called the Indian single malt. But if you really look at the Indian single malt to grow first, now internationally, yes, we have planted flags everywhere, but it will be very imperative to grow the Indian market with the Indian single malt category first now. I think we have tied over the maturity on the, putting flags in the most, I would say, important markets outside. But I think India is opportunity by itself. And I think we should be building the category here first together. Thank you.
So, as all of us have seen that Indians are very much fond of imported products. So, do you feel this challenge with Indian single malts also in Indian market?
Yes and no. Yes to that the general milieu is still the, I would say, the Scottish hangover, but it is the Scottish hangover. So I think what we are offering together is is a fresh take on the single malts, which are far more flavorful, far more exciting, and does not give a Scottish hangover. This is the play. But yes, it's a work in progress. As much as we are waking up to new concepts of single malt and savorability drinking than sessionability drinking in the country. This together is a platform that we have to work on. It's not going to be easily available. We have to create this market together. So I would put it this way that yes, it's an opportunity, but the mindset will have to work towards a change in the mindset. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chaudhary, coming back to you now, being the senior most panelist here, you've seen the industry growing from starting from scratch in different categories. So, do you feel that the number of single malts coming from India will they be competing with each other, or they are collectively helping the category to grow, especially in the Indian market? Keeping in the mind the price factor, because Indian consumer are still very price sensitive, and single malts in India are not easily affordable to common people.
No, no. Listen, listen. I tell you one thing. If I tell you, when Amrut got the single malt in India, I had a long discussion with his father, and I was so proud of him that time also. That you are bringing a whiskey in India, which is not. We are always running after the imported whiskey. Like single malt, we could never dare it to think of single malt having in this country at all. Once he dared to bring the single malt whiskey in India, it has become known to everybody. Yes, single malt is available in India, in societies and all that. And today, what I feel when I go around, if the single malt is drunk in India with the Indian people and all that, I see. If you ask me, most of people will go preferring Indian single malt. No doubt, people still have a craze, which changes. Time will come later on. I have seen this liquor from 1971 onwards. How this liquor and how is it grown this from 1971 onwards? Good whiskey was not available. If you have to get one Scotch whiskey, you have to get from abroad only. In India, anyone is called whiskey. Anybody going abroad, you could pick one bottle of whiskey at that time only. You can never go there. But the liquor by Amrut has done wonderful. I will say thanks to them. They bring this, and people other have followed, and they follow is too good according to me. Either Codes or Monikans or anybody else, they're coming in this picture, that they are doing wonderful job. I wish everybody this whiskey single malt pattern of whiskey will grow, and will bound. It will have no boundaries for them. Indians, preferably when they see you buy a Glenfiddich, you buy any, there are so many. When I go to the shop, Gurgaon, there are so many single malts are there, but cost is big factor. We stand much lower cost, and we get the equivalent quality or better quality. I cannot say that. According to me, our malt are at par with a single malt of the world. So the time is to come. Because if I have seen the word 50 years industry, if what I see now, so I will say time is not very far. An Indian single malt, number one in the country itself, and number two, they will flood our people in India. They will flood our single malt all over the world, and they will get them. The day is not for that.
I have one question from all of you. I want to know the answer to that. Now, all of you have launched your single malts and its variants abroad as well as in India. So, now what would you like to do something new to attract the consumers, new consumers, or other than the old consumers, whatever? What do you have? What strategies do you have in your mind?
Marketing, there is no difference between most of the quality of single malts. If you vary from one brand to other brand, is hardly any difference to me. It's very slightly difference here and there. It's only the marketing and the packaging that people create. If today Amrut is doing wonderful job because they have the very various variants, and they are working so hard on the packaging, and that's why they are number one today in the India itself. And the time is only packaging and your marketing strategy towards putting the brand. Otherwise, nobody can stop this country on having our own whiskies all over the world and India.
Sanjeev, what's your take on this? What's your strategy?
I think I have a little slightly different opinion about that. Each single malt expression that we all are producing is different. It is not the same. Each expression is different. Each expression uh, is unique in a way that they emphasize on something. For example, our Rampur Asava is the first single malt in the history that has been finished in an Indian wine cask. Similarly, Amrut or Paul John also have expressions which are very unique, which have not been tried anywhere in the world. So each expression has a story behind it. We need to communicate that to the consumers, which will entail a lot of master classes education as well. So it is unlike a blended whiskey where by and large the whole thing is same. Here the education of the consumer, the liquid sampling is very important. As I have always said, liquid to lips and from lips to the heart. That's what's important. There are so many single malt expressions that are available globally, and most of them offer something unique. Same is the case with India. So we need to educate, we need to make them taste that out, we need to conduct tasting sessions and master classes, educate them, and then see what is unique or what the consumer is also seeking, because India can offer so many unique flavors in the single malt. So it's still a very long journey ahead for all of us.
Rakshit, you have been creating new variants over the years. Uh, how much experimentation in your expression you are doing? Like I remember speaking to Dr. Lumsen, who said he tried once maturing single malt in Madeira cask, which proved to be pretty expensive, and it did not go much further. So, what is kind of experimentation you did, and you thought that the cost is so prohibitive that Indian consumers or the consumers globally will not be able to afford your new inspiration, so you had to stop it.
Right. See, as far as coming up with new expressions, you rightly put it, getting in specialty casks is expensive. Whether you go for a Madeira finish or you go for even a regular sherry finish one, these casks or these sherry butts or Madeira butts are expensive. But then again, these are unique unique product extensions and within the single malt whiskey portfolio that we have. And luckily, in the global market, it is commanding a very decent price, predominantly because of the exceptionally good quality that we offer. I think this goes across the spectrum of single malt whiskies. If you want to name it, Paul John or Rampur or Amrut, who have now come up with various expressions. Yes, the cost factor is there, but then again, consumer is looking for something innovative from the Indian distillers. Consumers are looking for something different. So I think there is good variety that the Indian distillers are providing today as far as the variations are concerned in single malt whiskies from India.
I think all of us today now have started a new initiative for Indian Single Malt, and I hope all of us should resolve to celebrate this day every year in a different manner. Sometime with shows, sometime with discussions, sometime tasting sessions, etc., etc. I hope you all would be agree with me. What's your opinion?
Himanshu, what do you suggest how best we can go as proceed it further with it and create a resonance in the mind of consumers that yeah, this is a day, the day of India Single Malt,
The day of ours.
the Indian Single Malt Day
Yes.
that we should celebrate. What's your takeoff on this?
Uh, you know, uh, I would like to draw a parallel from the wine world. There was a gentleman named George Duboff uh, who took a very simple wine called Beaujolais. And Beaujolais is the first wine from the year's harvest. So if it is 2021, it would be the first wine of that year, whilst the other wines are aged in casks and then released later on. Now, Beaujolais, he created a Beaujolais Day in September, and the bottles of Beaujolais from different wineries would go across to different parts of the world, and it's opened on that particular day in September uh, around the world, starting from Japan to USA and so the embassies come together, the hotel chains come together, and they celebrate. And it does not matter which brand it is, but it's as long as it is from Beaujolais. So I think it's something in that line. It's called Beaujolais Nouveau. Would be would be a great way to start our journey in that. It is actually celebrated on the third Thursday of November, not September, but November. Yeah. So if it is 24th, then we should all come together and put our single malts across the world and capture those moments of opening up. And it can be any brand as long as it's an Indian single malt.
What?
Would you like to open your distillery and single malt making facilities on this day from next year onwards to the single malt consumers so they can walk in, have a tasting, and enjoy the day with you all, your master distillers and you? Is it a good idea?
We are already doing it. I plead, request my comrades that please have the visitor centers come up with tours and tastings as quickly as you can, because I can tell you that we believe that this is one platform that the consumers will know what quality we are first creating, and that would change the perception not only, yes, for every brand, but for the whole category.
Yeah. Rakshit and Sanjeev and Mr. Chaudhary, what do you say about this? The day when people walk into your distilleries to taste your drams.
Well, I completely agree with Mr. Himanshu on this. They have an outstanding visitor center in Goa. We do have a visitor center at the distillery, though, but it's not as unique as Paul John's. What they've done is exceptionally good. So probably we are also working on the concept of having a proper like visitor center at the distillery going forward. So I think he's absolutely right. The more people are exposed to this concept of Indian single malts, whether it's in India or being abroad, I think it's only going to help the category to a very large extent.
Sanjeev, your take?
I think Himanshu and Paul John were the first ones on this to come up with the visitor center. And we are also ready with our visitor center, got delayed because of the pandemic over here, but we are ready. It's all done. We just, end of the day, it's an excisable product that you're talking about. So there are various, we are not as free state as possibly Goa. So we working on that, and hopefully we will be opening our visitor center for the guests very soon. It's all ready and up to go. So yes, it is a great opportunity for the Indian as well as the international experts, consumers to actually see where and how the Indian single malts are made. So that's something that we've seen happening in Scotland and in Kentucky and Japan as well. That's something that we all are going to replicate even in India.
So it's a day we have a celebration called Utsav with all of you. Thank you very much. And since it's 24th of August, at the time we should raise a toast of the favorite single malt drams in our homes and enjoy the best of single malts, whichever you prefer, the way you want to do it. There is no simple or complex rule, the way you want to enjoy it. Different consumers love to enjoy their drinks different ways,
And with different Indian food.
different Indian food. So please celebrate Indian Single Malts. They're all available in your neighborhood shops, and hopefully I see the makers of single malts will ensure that there's a greater supply of your favorite brands in your neighborhood store, and we hope to keep celebrating this day every year. Next year we'll come with a much bigger plan and with much bigger buzz to ensure that the whole India participates on the single malt day on 24th August.
And we are raising a toast tonight with each single malt, Indian single malt, because we have at our home, and hope to see you the same way and share your photographs with us. Thanks
Thank
for
you very
being
much.
with us.